new home for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up,
I think we were rolling way before I was ready to be rolling. Hey friends, so I've just been sitting out here this morning. I was doing my Bible study, and I've been wanting to do a little sit-down chat, just to kind of, I don't know, have a little therapy session, I guess. Y'all know that I use you all as my sounding board, I guess, and I wanted to make me a good little iced coffee for this. We ain't gonna talk about that I already had a hot coffee this morning. Two, actually, because I made one, drank most of it, and then when I come to do my Bible study, I wanted another coffee, so I topped it off, and it's fine. But I've been watching a lot of little videos. I don't know why it's the algorithm's fault, but they show me all kinds of little iced coffees, and it made me want to make one. But we didn't have no caramel. I'm usually a caramel girl. Usually a caramel kind of girl, but we didn't have none, so I figured we'd go with chocolate. Now, I don't usually like chocolate coffee, but it is what it is. Okay, I also have my water out here because, like I said, this is my third coffee, and it is 9:30. Okay, in my defense, we got up earlier than usual this morning. I've been wanting to have a little sit-down chat. This isn't my typical thing, but y'all know that we're not typical around here. I just post whatever's on my heart, and this has been on my heart. I'm gonna have to silence this phone and put it over here upside down because it's a super big distraction for me. Something we're working on, and I've been doing really good with it. If you notice, I don't wear my watch no more. I wear it when we go out, but at the house I don't wear it no more because it was just a phone always on my wrist. Well, when it wanted to work, because it's a 3, or is it a 4? It's a 4, so it's got some age to it, but it's just a distraction. My phone can be a distraction. We're working on that. That's one of the things God has pointed out to me. Are we rolling? We are. He's been pointing out a lot of things to me. But that's why I wanted to come on here and kind of just spill some feelings, because I just feel like you all are the best place for me to do that. And it's good feelings. It's not bad feelings. And then maybe I'm supposed to share this because somebody else needs to hear it. I don't know, but it's just been, it's one of those things I keep thinking about. I need to just have a little sit down, a little coffee chat, a little porch chat that Tiffany over at Our Small Town Life used to do them. I don't think she does them as much no more. I think it was every Friday she used to do like a back porch chat, and she would talk about just life and Bible, and which go hand in hand. But anyways, I've just been really feeling for a while that I'm supposed to sit down and have this chat. At the beginning of the year, I had filmed, I don't even think I ever posted it, or did I? I'm not sure, and I'm going to get my phone and check, but maybe I didn't post it, but I had filmed. I think I felt like I was supposed to pull back from it. I don't know, at the beginning of the year, YouTube was just so confusing. Y'all know that I was trying to do multiple things. I was just scatterbrained and whatnot. But at the beginning of the year, I had filmed, nonetheless, a video talking about my year goals. You know, YouTubers do it. I've done it a few different times. Whether I posted it this year or not, I did it. And one of those was to fully get me and my family back in church. If you've been around for any amount of time, y'all know that we love the Lord. I am a Jesus follower through and through. But I was not committed to going to church. We are members of a church. We've been members of a church since, I don't know when we officially became members. I think it took us many years. But we have went to a specific church consistently, inconsistently, but since Wendy was a baby. I think she was maybe 11 months old. No, we bought this place when she was 11 months old. She was a few months old anyways. She was going on 1, a little bit over 1. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly. But Wendy was a baby because I remember they would try to take her to nursery. And she was a very high maintenance baby. Yall is a high maintenance teenager, but very few people that could tend to Wendy, we'll say that. And so most of them, we didn't even try. I didn't try to send them. I'm not one of those people that let my baby cry. And if you do and that works for you, that's fine, but it wasn't for me. So there's very few people that I don't want to use the word trust, but I'm going to say trust with her. So I remember there was one lady, and she still goes to church with us. She was the only one that could handle and do, comfort Wendy. We'll say that. She was the only one that can comfort Wendy of the nursery squad or something, because, we wasn't members there. We was new, so obviously that wasn't part of my duties at the church. So Wendy would typically stay with me. So she was a baby when we first started going. That's what I'm trying to say. We would go for a while. We would skip years, literal years, without going, go for a while, and that's how it's been the entire, we'll say 15 years, even though Wendy's only 15. We'll say the last 14 years. And so it's been a while. It was before COVID, when we was really going to church consistently. And there's been so many times where I felt like I've been called back, but I have let my insecurities and my own issues stop me from going. Like, people would judge me for not being there for so long. There was some stuff that had happened. They're going to, that's all they see, is they see the blemishes on me and the parts of me that I want to fix and I need to fix with God and church. That's all they can see. And so I would allow that to stop me from going. And even before we started going back, I would be like so excited all throughout the week. And I'd tell the kids, I was like, we're going to go to church Sunday. We're going to go to church Sunday. Saturday night would roll around, or Sunday morning, and I'd be like, we really need to do this. We need to do this. And so we do this instead. Or I really want, which was mostly what it was, honestly. I really want to do this. So we can't do this and go to church. So I'm going to pick this one over going to church. Same thing would happen. It would be midweek, and I'd be so excited about church happening on Sunday, and I'd tell the kids, I was like, you know what, we're going to go to church Sunday. And it got to the point where I would tell the kids, and they would like, you said this, you keep saying this, and we haven't done it. And so I was just feeling kind of weird about stuff. I was letting my mind get to me. So I messaged one of my friends from church, and I was just like, told her, I said, I'm going to be raw and real with you, but I need to talk to somebody about this. And so I messaged her, and I laid it all out for her about what was going on. Well, let's back up. So before I did that, the beginning of the year, like I said, I to myself and to God, I said, we're going to get back in church. I think my kids need it. I know I need it. Like, I'm always in my Bible. Sometimes not as much as I need to be, but I'm in my Bible. I walk really close with God, I think, and I let Him lead my life. And I try to do that fully, but I am human. But I was having some inward issues. And I don't want to get deep into it, because that's not the point of this video. I don't know what the point of this video is. But I felt like I was failing my kids. I had this conversation with a different friend, that I felt like I was failing my kids because I didn't have them in church. And they see me doing Bible studies, and they see and hear all the sermons that I listen to, because if I'm watching them, the whole family's watching them, like I'm blaring them on the TV. But I just felt like I was failing my kids, and I feel like there's some parts of life and aspects that kids need to hear. Anybody needs to hear from, like, an outsider, like people that are not within your close-knit home, because sometimes hearing it from a different mouth makes you hear more, if that makes sense. It makes you understand or grasp more of it. So I just felt like I was failing my kids. There's a lot that's been just circulating, and I've got good kids, and they prove that to me all the time. I have good kids. I have do they do everything I want them to? Absolutely not. But do I do everything that my parents would have approved of, or even like that God approves of now? Absolutely not. So it's just part of being human, and especially teenagers and growing up and whatnot, So I have good kids, but if I can't if I don't bring my children into heaven with me, if I don't lead them where they should be, or just at least set the path for them to get there. I don't know why I'm moving my hand so much. I think because I'm kind of nervous, and I've also just been holding a lot of this in for so long, and I was just finally, like this morning during Bible study, it just was so overwhelming for me to just sit down and do this. So I think it's all just oozing out. But if I don't bring my kids into heaven, if I don't teach them about God, if I don't lay down the groundwork to get them there, if they're not in heaven with me at the end of all of this, everything else that I've done is useless. It doesn't matter how much I've loved them and how good of care I've took care of them, even though I'm sure I've failed at that multiple times too. None of that matters if I don't get them to the final place that they're supposed to be. So I just felt like I was failing them and I wasn't doing things right. And God told me that I can't lead them the right way without having them in church. And so that's what really started all this, is I promised him, okay, I'll get them back in church. You know, I'll take the first step. You give me the next one to do. So I talked to that friend beginning of the year. We was talking about going back to church. Our church is going through some stuff. We'll just say that. I mean, it has been. It's an ongoing thing. And so it feels broken. It feels like a broken home. That's what I was telling my friend after we went the first time. I was like, it feels like a broken home that, you know, the dad's gone, and your mama and your uncle and everybody's all together, and they're trying to fix it and make it feel like it's whole. But you know that something's wrong. You know that there's people and things missing from there. So I actually had thought about trying to move churches even, and I was talking to a friend, and we was planning some things. We was going to go explore and just, see about finding us a church to join together. We went to a family church, and they had a guest preacher. Nothing against the preacher, but it was during that same time we was talking about, like, we actually had plans that day to go somewhere, but then I remembered we had prior plans to go to this family function. This family thing at church. So I went, and it was so uncomfortable. Nothing against the guy. I don't know his heart. I don't know what led him to lead the service the way that he did, but it was so uncomfortable in that church. I've never been, I had to think about it because there was one other experience that I could think about. I have never been that uncomfortable in a church setting and wanted to get up and leave like I did that day. That's only happened to me twice where I feel like I should get up and leave. But sitting there through that, God told me, you keep trying to move. When I'm trying to put you back where I want you. Why are you trying to move? And that is what I received from that message loud as day. Like, you're trying to go someplace where I don't mean for you to go. I told you to do this, and you're trying to do it, but do it in a different way. So, after that, it really stuck with me that I was supposed to stay where I'm at. So, goodness gracious, this is going to be a long video. So, anyways, all that happened. And then all the stuff about me telling the kids, okay, we're going to go to church. I would let something get in the way. Okay, this week we're really going to go to church. All things would get in the way. I never promised my children that we would go to church. And I think that is because I always knew that there would be some reason that I wouldn't go. And I don't break promises. If mama makes a promise, then it's going to happen. So I rarely make true promises to my kids. I will always tell them, we will try our best to do this, or we will do that if we can, but I rarely promise, because you just never know. Like, if Lily was out here right now and she's like, will you walk over here to me, and she's sitting in a chair, I could tell her, yes, I promise I'll walk over to you, because I would get up and I would walk to her. But if it's something, if she says in 3 hours from now, will you stand up and skip over here, I would be like, if I remember. Like, if you remind me, because I don't make promises that I don't know I can keep. So I never promised them that we'd go back to church. So finally, I kept telling them we was going to go back, and then they finally got to the point where they was like, okay, Mom, you keep saying that, but we don't go. So we started going a few times. We finally did. But like I said, it felt like a broken home. And then some stuff happened again. Nothing bad necessarily, but I guess depends on how you look at it. But some stuff happened again in between our going a few times and then us not going. And so then I was just like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I feel like such an outsider, even though this is my church. So what am I supposed to do? So I ended up messaging. I'm going to go way back to where we was. I ended up messaging a friend from church, and I told her, I said, okay, this is what's going on. This is my heart. This is my issues. This is my brain. This is what I feel like I'm supposed to do, but also feel like I'm not sure if this is my place anymore. Well, not anymore, but at this time. I don't know if I feel like this is my place at this time, because God had already established for me at that moment that that is my place. Like, I've got roots there. That's where I'm supposed to grow. And so I messaged her. It was pretty early one day because I was just doing chores, and I'd been thinking about messaging her, and I never had. And so I was up doing chores in my bedroom, and God told me, said, just sit down and message her. Get it done. And so stopped doing what I was doing. Went and wrote her a whole book, because that's the kind of person I am. When I write messages, my kids always make fun of me because I don't send back, okay, see you there. I'll be like, okay, I will see you there. I'll tell what I'm wearing, what we gonna be driving, who's gonna be in the back seat. I'm just overanalyze and over elaborate things. So I wrote her a whole entire book, and it took her forever to get back to me. I know people have lives. I know people don't sit on their phone constantly. It's fine. But the inside parts of me was thinking, she saw it, she thinks you're a doofus, and she's just trying to be nice. She don't want to, she don't want to be rude or don't want to do this or that. Well, she ended up messaging me again. She messaged me back super late that night. I didn't see it till the next morning. And she apologized. She said, I'm sorry. I've been working all day. And she explained herself to me. And I was like, you don't have to explain yourself to me. But the very first part of her message was, girl, come back. And that's all I needed. And so we talked a little bit, and she fussed at me because I put myself down some in the message. But she said, girl, come back. And that's all it took. And I told her, I said, we'll see you Sunday. And she doesn't have no authority over the church. She's not like, way up high or nothing. It was just somebody on the inside, I guess, that I needed. I needed some confirmation that I wasn't crazy, that, I had a place, I guess. And so she said, girl, come back. And I said, we'll see you Sunday. So I told the kids. And again, they was just like, I told one of the kids, I think it was Wendy. And she was just like, you said that, you keep saying that. But I was like, no, we're going. I told her that we'll be there, so we're going to be there. Because to me, that, I didn't say I promise, but I told her, I said, we'll be there, so we'll be there. And I told her, I said, well, I did say, Lord willing, we will be there. I didn't say nothing about Tony. I said, Lord willing, we'll be there. And so I told Wendy. Well, that night, Jonathan decided that he was going to stay all night here, which is fine. He still stayed all night here. And they was going to get up early and go fishing that morning and spend a couple hours fishing. And I told, and that was my perfect out. The kids wanted to do something, whatever. But I told the kids, I said, I already told her that we would be at church. So we're going to be at church. I said, you can get up and go fishing if you want to. You just have to be back by the house by 9 o'clock. So that these teenage girls have time to get dressed. I said, but we are going to church. And they stayed all night, and they had a good time doing whatever. They ended up oversleep. They just slept in. They didn't go fishing, which I figured. I had a good feeling that was what would happen. But we got up, and we went to church that Sunday, and we have been back there since. And it's not been forever. It's just been a little while. But we've been back every single Sunday since, and I was walking with God already, and y'all know this. I've always been very open about my relationship with God here on my channel. I was already walking with God, but y'all, it feels like it feels like he's giving me a piggyback ride at this point. Everything just revolves around him, and I love this, and I know that it's a season. I've went through this so many times since I've got saved. You know, you go through these like super close times with God, and then you'll let things kind of get in the way, and you'll pull back, and you know he's still there, and you're close to him, you talk to him, but it's not as close knit as it is, you know, through certain times. And typically I lean on God when things are bad, but right now, thank you Jesus, our life is good. There's not really any, you know, big strong issues or whatnot, and our walk is really good. And so I just feel such a difference, even with going, even some with my kids already. And I don't want to get into that because I already feel emotional just thinking about some of the things. So I feel like we're exactly where we're supposed to be. Shift here. From the beginning of going, they started talking about Bible school. And the first time, you know, they had mentioned, or was it the second? I think it was the second week. No, they talked about it the first time. The second week they had a meeting. And they said, if you want to help, you know, just stay after. Well, I didn't stay after because I was still, you know, I was feeling weird about things still. Like, I know that people know that I'm a member there and they see me as part of the family, or at least in my head they do. And especially, I know that some of them do because I can feel it from them. Well, I feel it from most of them, actually. I can't think of anybody that would make me feel. Anyways, that doesn't matter. So I planned on after, I didn't stay for the meeting, but I planned on afterwards messaging, I guess the main one, I'm not sure. I don't know how stuff works, but I was going to message one of them nonetheless and tell her, you know, if you need me, I'm here. We went out, we was down at the flea market, and I ran into one of them. It was actually the one that I'd reached out to about how I was feeling. And she stopped me, which I just, you know, we was walking by and I was hi, you know, I don't stop and talk to people hardly ever. It's just not, I'm not that kind of person. I'm so awkward, which will lead us to where we're going. But she stopped me and she said, did she message you? And I said, no, I mean, not that I've seen. And she said, well, she's planning on it because we need help with Bible school. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I was going to reach out and say, you know, see if y'all needed help anyways, because I want to help, but I felt weird staying for the meeting because she understood, so I felt, you know, okay with speaking to her. I probably would have told any of them that stopped me, because it's the truth, and it's just, I felt kind of weird because we was just coming back, and, you know, and so I told her that, you know, I would be happy to help in any way they needed me to. I ended up messaging the other lady and told her, you know, I'm happy to help wherever you need me, whatever you need, and she said, okay, we'll talk at church. That next week, she ended up not being there, the one that told me we would talk. And then the next week, we had a Bible school meeting. Another one messaged me and said, you know, we're having a Bible school meeting tomorrow after service. Hope you can stay and hope you can help. And I told her, I said, I will be there any way that you all need me. I'm there. So we walked into this meeting. The girls are both supposed to help me. Lily's kind of iffy about it because she's not big on. She's super awkward and backwards like I am. Wendy is, but not as much. Like, if you tell her to do something, she's fine with doing it. So, me and Wendy ended up going to that meeting. And when I sat down, the lady, I don't want to use names, the lady walked in and she handed me a packet. And she said, you're first grade, aren't you? And I said, if you need me to be. And then another lady was beside me, and she knows me a little bit better. I think she knows my personality, the way that I am. And she's like, if you would rather have preschool kindergarten, we can trade. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And so we switched. Y'all, I am terrified. I have never been a teacher. And the whole time I was telling the girls, I was like, I don't want to be a teacher, but I'm happy to help in any way they need me. I don't want to be a teacher, but if they need me to be, I can be. I will be. I don't know if I can be. I can do anything with God leading me, I guess, but I guess we'll find out today. When you're seeing this, it'll be today. So, I have never been a teacher. I've always been a helper because I'm not a stand up in front of them kind of gal. That's just not the kind of person I am, which might seem weird to you, seeing me here, but I'm not. Like, this is different than real life. I can edit out things. You see what I want you to see, you know? And so I'm stressing it a little bit, and I still am, but I found a lot more peace with it. I think once the first day is over, I'm hoping anyways, once the first day is over and I kind of get a feel for it, and I know all the unknowns, and I know how it's going to work for me, I think I'll be okay. But I'm kind of nervous about it. Like I said, I've never been a teacher, and I have a sister-in-law, a friend, that she doesn't go to church there anymore, but she left on good standing, and it's fine. But I thought about messaging her and being like, this is what's happening. Will you come help me, aka teach, and let me be the assistant, because that's my comfortable spot. But I felt like God was telling me I'm not allowed to do that. That I don't know if this is a test for me or a strengthening exercise. I don't know what it is, but so I felt like I wasn't allowed to do that. Now, if she shows up today, since you're seeing this on the first day of our Bible school, if she shows up, how will I do it? I don't know. I might try to force her to take over for me. But I don't know. I'm having mixed emotions about it. And so if you've made this far, thank you. I love y'all. But if you wouldn't mind just praying that that I don't stumble, that I do things according to how God means for me to do them, that I help these little ones, see God. I don't care how they see me. I want them to be able to take something away from what I'm going to be doing. I have poured over the lesson plan many days, and I'm actually, when this is over, I'm going to go and, do a little bit of end recap just to make sure I've got everything. I posted in one of the Bible school groups, asking for tips and tricks and whatnot, and they gave me a bunch of helpful information and stuff. So I'm very nervous, to say the least. Like, you think you're on YouTube, you shouldn't be awkward or shy. I am. Like I said, this is completely different. I seen my friend Shelby this past weekend, and I guess she watches most of my videos, so she knows my personality, because I've mentioned it before. I'm super awkward in person. I'm shy. I'm just weird. And one of the things she said, I'm so glad you talked to me. And I was like, well, it's a little bit different from you because we are what I consider friends, and I think YouTube has helped me. Maybe this is a test for that, because I'm not as awkward as I used to be, and I will just speak up and say things to people that I typically wouldn't. And I've also just been feeling, I don't know, the spirit to do such things. Like, we'll see somebody out, and I'll think that their outfit is pretty, or they look pretty, or they're beautiful, or like their nails are cute or something. And I have been pointing out stuff like that to people, and I used to never do that. Like, I would love stuff, and I'd be like, girls, you see her? But I would do that. I would tell people that, because it just, I don't know. I just feel like it's one of those things that makes people, little things like that feels like nothing to you, can mean so much to people. And so that is something I've been doing, and I feel like YouTube has helped me do that. So I'm hoping that this last 5.5 years here on YouTube can help me to do this. It's not to say I'm not scared, but I'm going to put in the work and just pray and have faith that, God wouldn't have put me in the position to have the opportunity to teach the littles if I wasn't supposed to. And I just really hope that it turns out okay. I don't know. I'm nervous. I'll keep y'all updated on how it goes, but I'm very nervous. I am excited about it. I think I'd be more excited about Bible school if I wasn't teaching, because I don't know. I love it, and I'm so thankful to be back where I feel like I'm supposed to be. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's what we're supposed to talk about. Jesus, his callings, and putting in the work. I think that's what we are supposed to speak on today, just telling about getting back into church and how abruptly I got pushed or led into something that I never would have imagined that I would be doing. And I'm scared, but I'm trying to not worry about what man will think or worry about how people may perceive me. And I know that a lot of that is just stuff in my own head. It's not things that people necessarily even do. It's just things that in my head I feel like people are doing. And it's a huge thing for me, and it's something I need to learn to stop worrying about and start, not caring. I always tell my kids, if you're not doing something wrong, don't worry about what other people think. If what you're doing is aligned with God's plan and God's word, people don't matter. And so I guess I get to practice what I preach this coming week. So if you don't mind, say a little prayer for me, but most importantly, saying a prayer for our church and all the little people that will be coming and joining us and learning about God this week, and just hoping that they all, at the end of the week, get to leave and they know that, God is for us, and know a little bit about Jesus' love and our church. And I don't know, maybe this Bible school can be a movement to help our church heal and grow from some of the issues that it's been going through. But with that, I'm going to drink my chocolate milk coffee here, and then I got some work to do in the house. I'm going to finish up some Bible school stuff. I want to go over my plans, make sure I've got everything ordered and prepped, because today is Friday, so it's violet time. So I won't have time to really work on anything this weekend, and Monday is the big day. It's day one. So just be in prayer for our church family and just this entire VBS. Let it be a awakening for our church. And thank you all for being here and supporting and watching this, and I guess helping me get a little bit of practice for this. So we'll see you all next time. As always, remember to show grace, be content, and live blessed. Bye, friends.
Life ain't perfect, but it's all we've got.